I look at trees and one might think, okay, it's looking at trees, how boring, nothing is happening. But actually, it's so much happening every second, every minute. It's amazing. So if you have like this still image over an hour just of a tree, but there's so much happening. So it's always discovery. The exhibition As Trees Go By will show several works of mine which have been developed in the scope of my residency at the Hytjala Forest Research Station and also around other forest research stations in the world. And it focuses on themes such as clouds, air particles, odor communication and tree migration. So of course there are also some works here in this wonderful park. For example, with this Salix alba, this tree. And we have measured its specific VOC clouds emission, for example, and have synthesized a perfume from that the visitors can apply. But there are also another work, like which is the telemetry station. It's a table near the coffee house, actually, where you can have a tea with a tree. So this is actually one of the first works I had developed there in Hytjala. When I arrived there, it was like the year 2013, when I came there for the first time, and since then, you see, I'm still here. So when I arrived there, I had built this table, and then I invited the scientists and people working there to have a tea with a tree and me. And so this table was a very initial it was an important starting point for all the other works which have evolved, and because it enables communication, meeting and exchange. I was working always at the experimental edge of art and science with all the new technologies, exploring invisible or remote worlds which you cannot see with your naked eye, or where we need the help of technology to perceive these realities. And before I came to Hytjala, I had already developed some works focusing on cloud cores and cloud formation. So I have been built one installation, the Tropospheric Laboratory. It's actually a cloud machinery. And so I have already worked and investigated clouds and all these tiny particles in the air, which we don't see, but we breathe in every day and out. And when I came to Hytjala, then I discovered also very interesting other methods to measure what like the tree is breathing in and out, and all these gas measurements, let's say, what the earth, the soil is breathing in and out and so. And there I also heard for the first time that trees emit VOCs, volatile organic compounds, and that for each tree they have their total specific individual VOC cloud emission. That I was totally fascinated. So then I got this idea, okay, each single tree makes its own VOC cloud. And these VOCs is also something trees, plants, insects, they communicate with each other. So it's a way of biochemical communication. And then I get, what is if I measure these VOC emission? And then I synthesize it as a perfume, and then I can apply the perfume, and then I'm wearing the tree's communication system. So, and maybe I can then have a conversation with the tree, or what happens then? And how do I become a tree for another tree? It's kind of olfactory tree costume I'm wearing. So I had this idea in my mind, but it took some years until I could develop it for the first time. But this work is called One Tree ID. And in 2019, I could realize it for the first time, where we could measure this individual cloud. And yeah, now for this exhibition, we have measuring the VOC emission of the Salix alba, which is standing outside here. And then also inside there is a tree. To realize this work, I always collaborate then with some scientists on site. From biochemistry and so on, to measure these tiny air particles. So we take gas measurements and then synthesize it in the lab. And all the molecules we detect, that's like the recipe for the perfume. And then I also collaborate with the perfumer, Mark from Ende. And in the lab, then we synthesize the perfume essence. And it's super interesting because they all smell so differently. You know, the roots emit different VOCs, and the tree stem and the leaves. So we measure all these at these different places. And we synthesize 4 perfumes actually. The cloud of the roots, the cloud of the tree stem, and the cloud of the leaves. And all together they form like the One Tree ID, the whole cloud. The audience then can apply the perfume. You know, when they come to the exhibition or even outside here, you can take the perfume, apply it on your skin, and then become a tree, a kind of hybrid tree. Nowadays we have the situation that climate change happens so fast, faster than trees can migrate or adapt. And the Office for Tree Migration is investigating this, also investigating possible methods to help trees to move faster and maybe even walk away themselves from climate change. And yeah, since 2022 actually, I started to observe trees migrating into a Sikaneva peatland. So we have installed several cameras because these movements, they are so slow. You need long-term observations. When you enter the space, you see on your left side a long colored stripe, which is the migration route of our wandering tree. And also in the projection, there are many colors and so on. And these colors show the average RGB color of the vegetation per single photograph. So as we have recorded the peatland since several years, every 2 minutes we take a photo. So every 2 minutes I calculate the average color of the vegetation and how it changes. And over the years, of course, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of these images. And these colors are present there. And in the migration route, you see the color of the vegetation at 1 o'clock from each day over 2 years. And the width of the color shows actually the migration movements we have detected on that day. Working out in Sikaneva peatland over so many years, no matter what weather, day, season. Yes, of course, it's very extreme conditions. It is nature reserve. And thanks to, Heikki, Laakso and technicians of the Forest Research Station, we were actually able to install cameras out there, to get power and internet and all this. And it's quite a complex setup. And even though we did our best and have climatized boxes for the cameras, 2 cameras broke and so on. There are really extreme conditions being out there for several years, in storm, in heat of the summer, in rain, in winter. It's but we got some very interesting footage you can see. When you enter the exhibition, you see a big wall, a long wall. It's called Subsodum wall. And there you see a lot of material, papers, photographs, and so. And this is a kind of collection and collage which opens up a bit the background of the project. There you can find some scientific information or other photographs I took and so on. So if you are interested to go more deep into the project, you can investigate it very deep and you find material on this subsodem wall which enables some glimpses into each universe of the different works. We also have the Office for Tree Migration in Hytjala at the Forest Research Station, which is it's not far from here, like 30 minutes approximately. And there on this research station, there is one little red hut. And this is the real Office for Tree Migration there. You can see like monitors to observe trees around the world. And this is my working place. So yeah, it's more really a working place. We opened it to the public last year in the scope of the Peripheria exhibition, which is also there to explore in Hytjala. Closed shortly over the winter and it will be open now again for the whole year.